I've got my nice
Relax.
sleepy time tea. I've been up since 5 a.m. I'm just.
It's Tuesday. Katie's here.
Hi.
Also, special guest Kate is here. Kate Sullivan.
Hi.
Oh, is it switching you? Come on, automatic switch. What's it doing? Google Plus. Kate is here from New York. And we're gonna, as always, we start every episode with a bit of a theme song. We're going to change it this time because this is a special episode. If you read the heads up, this is a Sailor Moon episode, right?
It is a Sailor Moon episode.
So I figure, why not do the theme song on the accordion, but not the music, but just the lyrics of Sailor Moon. So everyone,
What?
you're with me here.
Are you gonna?
Fight. Katie, fight.
What's happening?
Fight. Team. You can do this with me, right?
I don't know. We haven't practiced anything.
We don't know who's saying fighting. Evil by moonlight. Living love by daylight.
Oh.
Never running for a real fight. She's
The one called Sailor Moon.
If you're just joining us, this is happening. Would you like to have the second verse, Kate?
Remember.
Never turn back on her friend.
Oh my God.
She's always there to defend. She's the one on whom
We can be
depend. The one called Sailor Moon.
This is.
It's
I'm
that
glad
easy.
the intro is a lot more poppy usually in the anime. I'm glad they didn't do the remake with the accordion.
Name our scout, Sailor Venus. Sailor Mercury.
Sailor Mercury.
Sailor Mars. And
Sailor Jupiter.
Yeah.
And once more throughout. Oh! Fighting evil by moonlight. Winning love by daylight. Never running for a real fight. She's the one called Sailor. Man, I'm
Thanks,
glad you
Kate.
guys sat through that. Welcome to Shanahanigans Live, a very special episode. We have Kate Sullivan here. I never know what the right term is. Is it like mastermind, curator, editor, producer, the gatherer of the smash hit recreation of a Sailor Moon episode called Moon Animates Makeup? All of that. Welcome, Kate. To the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Now, this will be confusing because we do have Katie and Kate, and the camera's going to be jumping between both of them. So we'll hopefully keep this straight. It's going to make sense. If you guys are at home and you want to get involved, and you're on the Google Plus, we do have the Q&A section. You can ask questions to everyone, and we will have them answered. Quickly before, Katie, will you be drawing during this episode?
No, because I want to be paying attention. I'm gonna be
Why didn't you
focused.
just come down here then? This would
What?
have been so much
Oh.
easier.
My chair is really comfortable.
Okay.
I might do some inking, but I want to be focused for the first bit.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So, Kate, welcome to the show.
Hello.
I do say show, but in truth, it's more of a gathering of friends. This is going to be very chill, very informal. That being said,
You.
I still wrote a whole bunch of questions just in case I screw up. So we'll be there. We got Sarah in the chat saying hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Kate, let's begin. All about you. We'll get to the project right after, but who are you?
Who am I? Oh my God, what am I? I'm the production manager of Moon Animate Makeup. It's a crowdsourced episode where I reached out to a bunch of people saying, hey, let's do something like Bart Kira. Let's reanimate an episode of Sailor Moon shot by shot and then do it in your own style, have it in by this date, and I'll put it all together. And production manager is a title I just kind of gave myself because it was pretty much anything that wasn't art related I was doing. So all the recruiting, all the managing, all the promotion, all the editing, just putting it all together. I did a little bit of art, but that's about it. Graduated from School of Visual Arts in 2012. Great time there. I live out in Seattle right now, and might be moving around, a little soon to say, but generally, professional shenaniganizer. So I seem to be.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one.
I like that term. I want that on my card, too. Well, you did a very good job of just, like, blasting through most of my questions at the beginning.
Sorry.
That's the show.
Good night, everybody.
And questions, anyone? No, we can go in a little bit deeper on each one. So for those who hopefully by now everyone like watching does know what this is, because was it 1.2 plus million views by this point?
1.2 plus million. Yeah, it's kind of it's still kind of blowing my mind a little. And we hit 1 million in the first week, and I'm still trying to figure out how I kind of got this lucky, because you see a lot of projects go up and you see how people react and what happens, and you figure, oh, this would be great, and stuff happens. And for some reason, I just hit the jackpot, and I just feel so lucky that it's like, you guys like this? Like another one? So.
we'll get to that. I want to ask for that right now. But for those who for some reason aren't a part of the 1.2 million, so a little more clarity on the project. It's essentially you went out, grabbed yourself an episode, Sailor Moon. What did you do to it?
What did I do? Well, and the idea I got was I wanted an episode where anybody could start watching. Like, you didn't have to know a whole lot about the series. Like, you could be channel surfing and like, oh yeah, I've heard of this, Sailor Moon and all her friends and stuff. So you could just start watching and just get the gist of it. I just wanted to be like a good intro to the series, without having to be like some major plot point where stuff gets revealed and it's like, no, I don't know who these people are, who cares? So I just went with that, and I really didn't have any Tumblr following or notoriety, so to say, to really call upon, except for just, I've had some experience working in animation and went to school for it, so I figure, all right, let me just get started. And so what I did was I took the episode, somehow find it pretty good quality, thank you, Internet, and I dropped it into Final Cut Pro and chopped it up shot by shot, and there were a little over 300, including eye catches and then credits, a few other details. Went through, cataloged everything that was in each shot. Didn't have Shotgun, but I used Excel, so I just kept track of everything. And then I was like, all right, this seems to be the right time to kind of put the project out there, because we knew that the new series was coming out. We thought it was going to be last winter, and then it got to July. So I'm thinking, all right, so probably by the time this thing will be done, I mean, God, hopefully, it's time the new series premieres, so I figured let's give it a shot. And so I just put the call out for artists and just tagged it appropriately on Tumblr, see who would sign up, and got a really good response. And I had about 50 people signed up by CTN in November, and then I decided, all right, by the beginning of December, let's just get started, and then whatever we have is whatever we have, but at least this way we're producing content, people are putting their stuff out there saying, hey, I'm part of this project, look at what I'm doing, and then it'll take off from there. And that's kind of how it happened. I think once I got the first little teaser out of what this was going to look like, more people were like, oh man, I want more of this. In my inbox, and it's like, oh, I got a busy afternoon.
Yeah.
All I have.
Well, that's exactly how I heard about the project, because I'm assuming like it feels like I've so many nice like clips showed up along the way, so I can't remember what the very first one I saw was, but I think it must have been Tumblr. Like, that's just how it got out there. People were just like, oh my gosh, check this out. They're remaking an episode of Sailor Moon. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I saw like just all the clips, and I assuming this was like one of the first teasers where you had like a bunch. I think it may have been kind of assembly like what was at the very beginning. On this episode of Sailor Moon, it was just kind of like a bunch of different shots.
Yeah,
like,
I put together a little preview with the existing audio from the episode, and didn't go with the exact clips from that because I didn't have them all in yet. But it was my way of saying, like, let's just put something out there. And actually, I saw Shaggy when you followed me on Tumblr. That's when I was like, oh, all right, I'm gonna make it. I've been following this guy for a long time.
Nice.
Popular now.
Yeah, that still amazes me, because I'm like, what kind of poll do I even have? I was just like, man, I just wanted somehow, I would love to be involved in this project, because like I unfortunately don't draw or nothing, but I'm like, maybe in the near future there's some way that other people can be involved. But like that's where it began for me, and from there, like anytime you posted something new, I'd be like sharing this, and like everyone needs to see this,
And thank you so much for that, because I really like when I first got started, in that first hour, it's like, oh God, I'm a failure. What did I do? And then you're working on it's just like, I don't know, maybe this is gonna work, maybe this is gonna work, and then someone whose name you recognize from just all the work you guys do online, but like when that shows up, like, oh, so and so's following you, it's like, oh, all right. I'm feeling good about myself now.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad we could have, if we contributed in any way that way, I'm glad we helped the show come along, because I feel proud of that. Yeah, like, so it kind of basically took off just from like the Tumblrs, correct? Then it's like, or social media, you just put it out there, because you said yourself you didn't personally know too many, or did you know many of the animators actually working on the project?
I knew a handful or so. Some of them I reached out to beforehand because I went to school with them. I went with Tumblr mainly because I found that it's a really excellent platform for both fans and professionals, and I'm also aware I talk really fast, so I'm going to try and slow down.
Oh, you've been good.
So just on Tumblr, it's been really cool to see. Oh, there's all these DreamWorks story artists who post their own work. There's, Katie yourself. You've been posting your work on there, and it's a really good way to kind of see like live updates from artists you want to follow, and then fans can kind of have their real-time response. And then you've got people who are working on their own stuff who aren't, quite as popular yet or working somewhere else. So it's a good way to just reach out to people and say, just across, all spectrums, and say, hey, here's this thing. Do you want to be part of it? I think Twitter is great for written projects or just written word or reporting, like what's going on now. And Facebook's good, but it's a little more, I think, for like community stuff. But I think Tumblr was the best way to just distribute video and photos and just get more information out there.
Yeah, and with a project like that, it seems like it's the visual that really captures exactly what the project is, because it's like you see this crazy animated style, these really goofy looking characters. You're like, wait, that's Sailor Moon. I know that sequence. What is happening? And then just all the variety. It's just so fun to actually see it all right there. So, great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Also, just quickly going back to Tumblr, we talked about before how I'm really terrible with names, but the artist behind the Rat Queens comic released 4 pages on Tumblr, and that was just took off just the visual, basically a visual campaign. People saw it and started sharing it, being like, "What is this? This is interesting."
Yeah, because I didn't know what the comic was until they posted that, and then people were posting it as like, "Look at how sassy these characters are! I want to check this out," and that's kind of what helped promote more people to check it out, because it's sword and sorcery, and they're just so crazy. So yeah, Tumblr's great for that.
We have actually a quick comment here from Lillian saying, "Hi, Kate. Congratulations on the Moon animated. It looks awesome. I didn't know you were friends with these lovely guys. We met super briefly by mail for your other project. Happy face."
Okay.
Other project.
Well, thank you.
Actually, curious, you did mention is it Bartira, or how's it pronounced?
Bartkira?
Bartkira.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was oh god, I hope I'm not mixing their names up. It's James Harvey. It was Ryan Humphrey who had the original comic of just subbing out the characters in Akira for the Simpsons characters, and then James Harvey had the idea to say well, let's redo the whole comic, and so that's, I think, what started the whole fan collaboration. And I'd missed out on a few Zines before then. I was really cranky about that, and I was like, dang, I want to be part of that. So I saw Bartkira on this. So I just.
Are you in Bartkira?
I am. I'm in volume 1.
Oh, that's cool.
I did a few. Let's see. I did a few pages with Skinner, and then another one in the classroom. And there's one group setting in the classroom where it's just completely stuffed with characters in the original comic, and I made myself crazy just trying to get a handful of kids in there, because I was initially going to be like, okay, let's keep it simple, let's just keep it really rough in my style, because they have a very kind of contour, very loose style. And then I quickly found myself, referring to the model sheet book that is out, which is incredible if you want to know how to draw The Simpsons, because it's from the people who work on the show and say, this is what we use. Draw them like this, not like that. If the pupils are too big, they look stoned. If they're too tiny, put them all on. New details, and they're amazing. So I just got completely absorbed in that, and next thing you know, I'm trying to make them as on model as possible from angles they don't get drawn from. But I got crazy with it. It was fun. But at the end of it, it's I really want to do something like this. I did a gallery show a few years ago that I loved. I loved putting that together. And then at the last minute, it's oh Jesus, I got to make my piece, and so I just quickly drew my project. I was kind of feeling the itch to just be I really want to do something like that again. And then I was thinking, well, what would the animated version of Bartkira be? Would it be like Sailor Moon? And then it's oh, damn it, I gotta do this now, don't I?
It just starts rolling, and then...
The curse of creativity.
It's all right, so I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta look at these things, I gotta make sure, no one's gonna come after me knock, knock, excuse me, take it down now. So, of course, I think we're in kind of a legal limbo for that, but... you actually looked into that just in case? Or... Just in case, because I'm, that's why I have, the big disclaimer at the end, just good to cover all your...
This is a work of love by the fans.
Yeah, anime is one of those kind of strange zones of legality where people don't really bother with it, because it is truly one of those odd industries that it's the fans that made it really happen. So to go after them kind of like is counterintuitive in a strange way. It's an odd situation.
I think the thing I was worried about is just using, because everything else was kind of created by the animators who signed on, but the voices are still like the original American dub. So I wasn't sure what was going on there, because I know that Deke folded or was bought out by someone else, and it does appear that like the only way you can get a copy of the original are just whatever video cassettes are on eBay. Which is amazing to watch, because I just remember that was like the only version you could get for the longest time. And it was like, oh, you want season 3? You're cute. It's like, all right, we'll give you seasons 3 and 4, and it was kind of frustrating. And then Napster, of all things, comes along, and I just remember being in middle school, like just hanging out at lunch with my friends and furiously abusing our school's cable modem to just get Dragon Ball and like. This is what's going on? What else are they not telling us? So that's
wow.
But it's like, I'm happy to give them my money now. I'm really excited that Viz is going to be releasing all 5 seasons. That's a big deal.
I'm going to get that for sure.
We'll be going into that in a bit. We also have a couple more questions. We got Sai Chan saying, hey, Kate, I just got here, so I don't know if this was answered already. Any news on doing another project like this one? I hope you or others are planning on another one already. Or on one other one. On one another one. There. I can read.
Yeah, I'm relatively sure I know what I want to do for my next project. It is based on an existing idea. It'd be a similar crowdsourced kind of deal, but I'm still waiting to hear from that person, so I'm not sure yet. But I will release more details as I know about them.
Exciting.
Shanahanigans Live exclusive.
Exclusive that maybe there's a thing.
Exclusive news that there might be something happening.
Obscure.
I'm just like, I'm not gonna announce it. I'm talk to them first, but instead of being forcing their hand, because that would be mean. I really would have liked to do a different series. First, just kind of like just try out something else. But I'm just thinking like, yeah, this one's kind of popular, so if this initial idea doesn't really pan out, then I'll take a look at doing episode from season 2, and I'm pretty sure I know which one it is, although I have to admit, I have not seen every episode of season 2. That's
Dude, is that the Doom Tree we're talking here? Is this with the twins?
No, it'd probably be later with Rubius and those cats, but
yeah.
At some point I do need to sit down and watch season 2, because I started watching it on Toonami shortly after that ended, and there was that weird hiatus. I've seen all season 1, season 3, season 4, pretty sure season 5. But there's just, I think there's only one episode of the Doomtree season that I've seen. So
really? I think they played them out of order too. When I think about it, like
yeah, there's some they left out, and it's just like, all right, par for the course. But it's this whole section I just missed out on. But I've like read every page of the comic, which oh god, I love it so much. It's like really styles and cartoon violence.
We got Sarah saying, I always thought the project was inspired by Star Wars Uncut, but now I have to check out that fan comic. So is this Bart Kira available for the readings?
Volume 1 is online. James has Volume 1 online. He's working on Volume 2, and I think he's also working some original projects right now. So, yay, good for him. Really very cool. So that one, and actually I haven't seen Star Wars Uncut yet. I forgot about that until I think IO9 was writing about Moon Animate, and they were like, oh yes, it's like Star Wars Uncut. And I was like, oh, I haven't watched that yet. Add it to the queue.
Yeah.
So you went from, you were a participant in the Bart Kira, you wanted to do your own. What was it like running a project of that scale after being like a participant of one? Did you anticipate, or was it just like, there's so much I have to do, why did I do this?
You know what, it's weird, it was fun. Like, it was really, really fun, and my idea of fun is just looking at my Excel spreadsheet where I have everything set up. I've got like name, email, portfolio, what their art style is like, which shot I gave them, any notes, and other details, and I'm just looking at this for hours and just like updating stuff. I'm emailing people, like when I first broke down the episode, so I would know how many components were in each shot, how many characters, what background, what effects, any weird transitions I have to look for, any other notes, and I just, after work when I decided what episode I was going to do, I stayed up for, it had to have been 11 hours, cataloging everything. And at no point was it like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's so boring. I was like, oh my god, I have to finish this. This is so much fun. So I'm the weird kid who went to art school and just knew the whole time, like, I want to run the meetings. Like, I want to track the shot list. That's fun.
Yeah.
And
Actually, there's something fun about that side, yeah.
Yeah, it was great, because I think when I do the art, like, it's fun. I'm glad I can do it, and I can do it reasonably well, but for me, it's just starting from scratch. It's just kind of overwhelming. Just, oh, God, I just want to finish it, because I did the borders for some of the little special sequences, and even that was just like, oh, God, I have to fix this thing in Photoshop now? Oh, my God, just be done. I just want to render it and be done. And if I've got, like, 50 emails waiting for me and I have to, like, update on my shot list, it's like, oh, this is so relaxing.
Just organize. Keep everything neat.
Yeah, it's actually great, and I had my little color code system actually pulled from, this is a weird reference, but I'd color code everything, so like purple was complete, blue was complete but needs some fixing, like the aspect ratio's off or there's no sound. Green is if they need an extension, orange is if I needed to find someone new, which fortunately did not happen very often. And I got the whole idea from when I was playing Mario 64.
Oh my god.
Health bar as it's looping around, like blue is perfect health, then it goes like green, yellow.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
It's a little progress thing. So if you're a visual person like me, you can just look at it and be like, okay, all right, I know where we're at. So,
that's perfect. I have a really simple form for my comics where it's like red if it's still in pencil, orange if it's getting there, and then green is finished. But I want to try and utilize all the colors, like you did now, like little extra steps, because it feels good when you change the color. Like it's one step along.
It feels so great.
Like
so
if that's all I did today, it's perfect.
When you saw that wall of purple at the end of it, you're just like, yes, this was amazing.
Oh, it's so great. Yeah. I was even when I was just flipping some folders over, because I'd have everything in sequence folders, so like a bunch of shots just make one sequence, and there were only 7, but the 7th sequence was the last half of the episode, so that one was kind of daunting.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just great to, like, everything would just be green if it was in progress, and then if I had more than half of the shots turned in, then I could flip it over to blue. And even just doing that is like, oh, get there.
That was like us with like shipping books. We're like, these ones were sent, and we're like, this country's done. Yes. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Just like that.
Yeah.
But except there would always be like one account where it's like, this guy has a school email account and it's summer. He's not answering. He's like yellow, and we're like, oh, frustrating.
Yeah. If there's one thing I learned from the project, no more university emails. I mean, not hating students. I had a lot of amazing students on, but I'm just like, if I need
tip.
Or if we switch schools, I suddenly can't get in touch with you, and I'm sitting here like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't want to kick this up to the waiting list if you still want to do it. So from here on out, give me your Gmail account.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pro tip to all you guys: if you're doing Kickstarters or anything, no university emails. It is sometimes you just get blocked. Like you just can't even write back to these people, and it's just madness.
Yeah, it'll just bounce back. And just pro tip in general: first name, last name @gmail.com. Like even if your friends know you by a different avatar or something, just have the work email set up. Just send it to people, because it's I don't know, if I want to be like email a client with like Mallory Archer II.
Yeah, I've run into trouble with that, because like I did it too late, so my name is really hard to get. So I'm trying to come up with all these variations with like dots in the middle and middle names. It's a mess.
Numbers at the end, does that help at all?
I don't know. I was worried about the numbers. I felt they cheapened my email if I have numbers in it or something like that.
It still looks kind of cool. I think if you have like a bunch of like periods and backslashes you have to keep track of, then it's like the new passwords you have to come up with, where it's like uppercase, lowercase, number, exclamation point, symbol of the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
You can get that on your keyboard. Oh my god.
Like the little dancing dude I keep getting text of. This is little like pose. It's like, what the hell? That's his email. All right, so we had 250 plus animators you're working with. So many different art styles. This is of course like the linchpin. The major thing that's amazing about this project is every cut is a different style. There's some shocking surprises. Like some of them are like you get like out of nowhere like live puppets show up or something. You're just like, whoa, what happened?
That one was great.
Or also one of my favorites is like the very masculine one. It's just like all the scouts just are ripped, and it's just like
was so hilarious. I was like, oh, this one's gonna get really good reaction.
And it's I guess it's just kind of really interesting visual experiment in that way, because it's like you're partly paying attention to the story, and like I guess we've all seen the episode, but you're mainly just kind of like looking forward to what's going to hit you next.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe what kind of experience that is, where it's just like what's visually going to hit me.
Yeah.
It's not really a question; it's just a statement.
I really enjoy all the sequences are so great, but there's just little things that I love where when you have more time to work on a sequence, like they can really add like their own kind of humor to them. And there's one scene where the photographer's taking a picture of all the scouts, and in the original they're kind of all just trying to block the light, but in the revised version that you guys did, there's like Venus is doing all these poses every time the flash goes off, and I was like, that's so clever. Like that's so perfect with her personality and just an extra fun thing happening in it. Yeah. And so I'm looking for those little things, just coming back in to find the little extra touches, and it goes by so quick too. So it's just I need to watch it again to just sink it all in. There's just so much fun to look, so many fun things to look at.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out a way that would make it a little easier if people want to watch it, like frame by frame, to find stuff. Because there's one great shot where the photographer Nancy is swooping around to take their picture, and all of a sudden Popeye and I guess Sailor Saturn's costume. There's such a great little Easter egg, and this makes me a little crazy because I have seen all these shots more times than I can even say, and to a point where like forgetting stuff. That's why I could barely do the intro at the beginning. But I saw some people on Twitter saying, "Oh yeah, Nigel Thornberry's in there," and I'm thinking,
where?
I looked at all of these shots. I can't find him. So part of me wants to just go when I get home, just like go through each one. Like I'm gonna find him.
Just because you probably have the giant file too, that you can just look at the full res original.
My computer's getting a well-deserved week off. I even shut it down, putting in sleep mode, because I just have many who just like chugged along, and then finally, we're not rendering this in After Effects. No, you got to get me something.
That would be brutal, yes. Katie actually just touched on something I want to go into quickly. Also, like not necessarily just the jokes, but the fact that it's a kind of like one animator working on just like one cut meant there's so much more could be kind of put into it. So I was actually really impressed in like kind of a comparison video way how much more character these shots have now. I had a specific example, like looking at is it Cole or is it Cole Nicoli? Chol Nicoli? I'm mispronouncing the name probably. It's just like in the original, Amy's just kind of like talking and the mouth is just opening and closing. But in this one, it's just she has so much like expression and feeling and stuff in it. And it's just like something about that was just.
Which shot is?
Really. There's a scene where I think Ray's in the background and Amy's being like, maybe we should get the robber or something like that.
Oh, yeah, and it's very it's kind of like dry brush style.
Yeah, but it's like Amy has like all these kind of like shrugs and move arounds and things, and it almost suits the voice better than the original, because the original is just her head's here being like, ah, bah, 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 bah. And you're like, I just compliment the project on how much more character it has.
Well, that was actually one of the things I really, while I was breaking down the whole episode, that was one of the things I really came to appreciate about the series that I kind of didn't notice was how, you watch the original series and it's so kind of detailed and how the characters are designed and drawn, and then I realized kind of how little animation is actually in the episode. You've got the transformation scenes and the attack scenes, but you'll have like these long dialogue scenes where you're really engaged and it's just their mouth moving. Like it's literally the only thing, because I'd be going frame by frame and it's like, yeah, it's only their mouth, and then I see the little glue at the bottom of the screen to show the shot is done. So it's like, okay, cut, go to the next one. So it's awesome that I think that there's so much that we were kind of engaged on just by really strong posing, and because I think I don't want to generalize, but I think there is kind of a feeling that like, oh, in order for it to be good animation, it has to be really fluid with lots of acting and shoulder. Like
there was something I heard about the difference.
I'm thinking, it's just really strong posing. You just want to be able to like stop and kind of frame it and see, like, to be able to tell what's going on. And there is a lot of good postures, and some of it's a little more simple in the original cartoon, but it still works. But it's also great because in the version I ran, it really gave people a lot of potential. Just like get crazy with it, like crazy, and that's why the shot you referenced, that one was awesome. Where she's like, maybe we should settle all of this and take care of the burglar, and it's like, no way, it's going on too long. I thought that was really funny, and I think she was. I'm trying to remember. I think she was actually one of the Goblin students who signed on, which was another fun.
Oh, cool.
Who signs up, because usually like you get hobbyists or students or some professionals. And it was towards the end of the project. I had some stuff on the waiting list, and so I was looking through people, and I got an email from a few girls who were like, "Hey, I'm from Goblins. Can I have a scene?" And it's like, room for you.
Man, those Goblins kids are crazy good.
For those who don't know, Goblins is art, I believe it's an art school, or is it just animation?
It's an animation school.
Yeah, and you got to be top of your game to get in there, and they just do beautiful, beautiful work. So just creative, kind of get their passion.
Yeah, they're so good. I think I remember hearing that you have to be under 25 to get in there. You can't. They won't accept you over 25. They need youth, sparkly youth.
Just, ambitious.
They're so crazy good.
Yeah, and it's great because they do a lot of really beautiful 2D work. So I think, in the States we're kind of worried about, like, is 2D going away forever? Is it ever going to come back for feature film? And you see what's going on in France. I know, Persepolis was a couple years ago, and The Illusionist, I think, was more of a Glasgow and international project. Glasgow, Edinburgh, excuse me. So it's interesting to see that their program is like really focused on that, and it's just everything just looks so good. It looks really so. I just want to toot their horn. Goblins are really cool. I love my SPA. I had a great time there.
That's excellent.
I guess you quickly said how people said they want certain clips. Is that how? I didn't actually hear how you distributed clips. Did you just have like the cut down for each one, or were you just kind of like a person joins a project and you're like, here, this is yours, or did people request specific edits?
Some people have specific requests. I usually I took a look at their reel, and that was my big criteria. Was I didn't want a whole lot of info, but the main thing I wanted to see was just a reel, or just any existing animation work. Because for me, just knowing what I was like in school, it's very easy to be like, yeah, I'm an animator, and like here's some things I sort of did. And also my drawing arm was too busted for me to actually continue animating, so that's why I stick to this. But for me, a reel is a sign that you've taken the time to put your work together and present it. So even though like it's really rough and aggravating sometimes putting it together, it's just showing me that there's something I can look at to show you've completed something. And people wanted to sign on, but they're like, oh, I think I kind of suck. I don't know if I'm good enough. And my priority is, let me tell you if you suck, because you're probably going to have all the shots that need to be filled in. So you're probably going to get in. And usually what happened if somebody came on, I think everybody who signed up who had a reel to show me, I was like, all right, I can find something that works. So if somebody was still kind of a beginner, I'd usually find like a still frame where there wasn't any animation, kind of let them go at it. Somebody was a professional and said, listen, I don't have a lot of time. Can you give me something really short? I tried to find something like under 2 seconds. And I just generally tried to go like gauging people's abilities and their schedules. One of them, Makoto Koji, oh God, I love her. I love all of them, but it's like something all the time. He requested a shot with Sailor Jupiter because he's like, no, that's also my name. We have the name. And she was real, so she did the shot from the second fight scene when Sailor Jupiter is kicking Sailor Moon, and initially that's just generally a still scene but with a moving background, and she came up with this really beautiful stylized kick, and it reads beautifully, and I had a number of people who wanted to do more than one, and my thing was like, all right, finish the one I gave you, if that's cool, and then we can definitely go from there. And then she just delivered, this beautiful shot, and she's like, can I get Sailor Jupiter's attack? And that, I don't think I had assigned shots into that sequence yet, but I'm like, yeah, dude, for sure. You've shown me that you've like completed this, you did it really well, and I know you can handle a complicated animated scene like that. And again, she just knocked it out of the ballpark. If you look later in the episode at Jupiter Thunder Crash, right?
Yeah.
But it looks incredible. And on that note, at the very beginning, there's an animator who signed up, Max Litvinov. Max, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Where at the beginning I gave him this shot from the first scene of the moon, of just the clouds passing by the moon. And he was like, can I have one that's a little longer? I did my thing, like, well, finish this one, see how we do. Then the next morning, the shot was waiting in my inbox.
Nice.
Okay, you can totally have another. And so I was like, can you take a longer one? Because I don't know who's got time for what. And so he has the dialogue scene in the third scene when Sailor was getting interviewed by Nancy. He's like, oh, and friends like, right, guys? They're like, nope. So it's awesome when somebody is like can just take it off your hands because there's over 300 shots, but there are fewer artists. There are only 250 artists because so many of them were just like, can I have another? And it's like, yeah, you totally can have another. Thanks.
That's excellent. I love how enthusiastic everybody is for the project. It's great.
Yeah, everyone was like really cool, and I had a number of people who signed up who had never seen Sailor Moon before. There's like, I've never seen Sailor Moon, but I don't know, it sounds cool. Like, can I be part of it? I'm like, yeah, dude, for sure. So it's everyone was like really sweet, really easy to work with, and usually like if stuff like I tried to give everybody about a month and a half to work on each shot because school, work, everything, things come up. But generally some people like had to drop out, or they said, can I get an extension? And I'm generally pretty flexible. Just be in touch with me about it, or even if it's calm down, then it's like, oh, this is going on. And it's like, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll figure out something. Let me know if this time's good. So yeah, everyone was just so sweet. I just could not have asked for a better group of people to work with.
That's so good.
It's actually, just you briefly touched on the powers, the special moves of Jupiter. The one that stood out to me was when Mercury does her bubble blast. I never really appreciated how loud Mercury actually like yells that until like that rendition has her with this like, it's like this big face like doing it. It's just interesting how like there's a lot of things in Sailor Moon now I kind of noticed differently, like how hammy Malachite really is. Like all his lines deliveries are like, oh, please don't treat me like a liar, but you have your people like doing it like very sassy and stuff like that. It's just like it's so interesting just how the new animation accentuates a lot of like things that I never really caught on as much in the original Sailor Moon.
Yeah, so that's what I really enjoyed, is that it really gave people a chance to be like, go crazy with the acting, do something weird with it. And I actually don't. I think just watching it now and after hearing later versions of the dub, when you watch season 1, it's like that's pretty good. I can watch this in English. I mean, they're cutting out a lot of scenes, and there's die in that one episode, and they don't. But
that was really confusing to me as a kid. Like, so they all went back home. What happened?
Oh, me, it blew my mind when going back to Napster, when like we managed to find like the original uncut Sailor Moon. We all downloaded it. It's just like, oh Jesus!
I couldn't even watch it. It was just like fan sites where it was like, this is what actually happened. And you're like, oh. But yeah, you got to actually watch it. I didn't get to watch it till years later.
Oh yeah, it was traumatic, and even worse if you downloaded a real audio media file. It's like, oh, it's not gonna work now. I waited like 7 hours for this.
Oh no.
We actually recently did a test because I somehow got my hands on the ADV re-release when they did all Sailor Moon uncut on DVD. And we did a back-to-back where we watched the first episode of the English and the first of the Japanese, and just to be like, the stuff they cut out, like Serena being kicked out of the house for having a bad test, that was gone entirely. Yeah. There's her brother being a dictator, that's gone. It was interesting just to see what they removed like subtly or carefully dubbed over.
Yeah, that scene in particular, it's made me realize just how really cartoony and caricature the original series was, and just how much they were not afraid to like kind of get ugly. About pretty girls, where it's they have these beautiful transformation sequences and they're really elegant, and then you've got Usagi kicking the door to pretend to be Sailor V, and there's that flash frame of her where you just see her whole skeleton to show them the thing she's in, and there are bones in her pigtails, and it's like what? So there's a lot like that, and even cutting down this episode, it's just I just forgot how cartoony it is, and just how like it's not afraid to like get goofy and get weird, and it's really enjoyable.
I love it, and that's like Sailor Moon pretty much was my gateway drug into anime, because I think the series came out in like 92 or something like that. Yeah. I can't quite remember. Like it was in grade 12. But it was just the wacky humor that I hadn't seen in anything else, and it was, like you say, really elegant. It could be really like some pretty serious topics, but also it would just deal with a lot of humor that you didn't really see a lot in these kind of shows. And yes, I'm just so happy that it's like 25-year anniversary now, or 20, 25.
I think, oh god, I should know this.
That's crazy.
I'm really happy that it's coming back in such a strong way, that there's
that there's so many people that were affected by it, and that would come together to work on this project, and that are like, oh yeah, there's a new series, and just everybody I remember that.
All like Babs Tarr's
so
artwork. Which
I have that up some. Well, I haven't put it up yet, but on the motorbikes.
Oh, so cool. Yeah, and I'm seeing like Natasha Allegri, all of her Sailor Moon fan art, and that's what did it for me, was when I saw I think that's what really helped me decide, oh, this could work, is when I saw the the Fiona and Cake episode of Adventure Time, and I'm
Yes.
like, what, Princess Serenity's dress?
Yeah. We're like, that's totally the dress.
That just blew my mind. That it's like, wait, we're also talking about this? Because Sailor Moon's totally my Batman. You can't shove me up with a shovel about it. I just think it's cool. And to just see something like that, where it's like, wait, people are still talking about this. This is important.
It's so ingrained in all our subconscious, or not even that, like just the pop culture of what we grew up with. That now that you see artists are making things with that influence, it's so great, so fun.
I'm trying to remember the first episode I saw. I think I was just flipping around on Toonami, and I think I had the initial fat fangirl impression where I'm just like, "It's a stupid girl show," and I'm now a much better feminist, I'll have you know. So I really got into it, and I hadn't gotten into a lot of American comic series because it just kind of seemed like the same thing to me. Big muscles, everybody punches each other, they die, they come back to life. I just can't keep track of it. I understand it's a lot cooler than that, and I've gotten into some new series. But when I first saw Sailor Moon, I was like, something about this is kind of cool, and I really, I would go to the image galleries online and see like the trading card artwork or stuff in the shapes.
Oh yeah.
And the art book, I'm like, this looks really pretty. It's kind of cool. And but then when I saw the comic, and I just picked one at random, it was from the Dream series with the Dead Moon Circus.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, let me just pick this one at random. Oh, these have the outer senshi on the outside. Yeah, they're my favorite. Like, that's how I determined it. Like, these guys are cool. I'm going to read it. Opened it up, and instead of just seeing, you know, big muscles, punch, boring, I just found this comic where they're all illustrated like fashion illustrations. Everything's really elegant and really beautiful, and they're just kicking the shit out of each other. Just really violent, crazy attacks. And I love stuff like Ranma and... I'm trying to remember what else. Power Rangers. Like, I love like the big action-y series, and just to see like, wait, there's a series where you can be really feminine and be really beautiful and just be super like, hurrah! Sailor Saturn with her giant freaking glaive, just blasting like, oh no, wait, no, it's Neptune who blasts the circus roof open, and Sailor Moon's hallucinating that all of her friends are dying and she's decomposing, and it's like, this could be, I want more of this. Oh my god, it's so cool.
I don't think I got to that part. Holy.
Yeah,
pretty intense.
The comic's so great. I really hope the new series gets to that arc, because that's my favorite. It was just so great to see like an action series with with women and just who could be really feminine but still be like really ferocious, and not in a whole like, man, girl power, we have to prove ourselves way. It's like, there's nothing to prove. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy. This version's Guardians of the Galaxy, and we're here to defend the planet, and we will freaking destroy you. So bring it on.
Love it.
This of course brings us to the most important question: favorite Scout.
God, why you got to do this to me?
I'm sorry, we have to. This is how the internet works. You have to say your favorite. It can't just be all of them. It has to be one. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I had a couple. Sailor Saturn, I think by default, because it's Sailor Saturn. She's so cool. She's got a freaking glaive, and she's a power. Little goth girl, and just like, oh, she's so awesome. Personality, identify a lot more with Sailor Moon and Sailor Venus. I'm just like, they're totally my inner child. Overall, absolute favorite, without hesitation, I think I can say Sailor Starfighter from the anime. I just think she was really great. And I am definitely in the camp where it's like Usagi, she's a lot cooler than Tuxedo Mask. I'm sorry. You should be with her. But, gotta respect Naoko's decisions and stuff. And yeah, I just thought she was really funny and really cool. And then for the first time, just when you're a kid and you think you don't really see any cool superheroes out there, like when you see Sailor Starfighter transform, it's like, she's so cool!
So good.
We have a comment from Sarah saying, it's funny, I had the French version growing up and they didn't cut anything. I rewatched most of the episode this winter and it still holds up pretty well. So there you go. Sailor Moon still holds up.
Yeah, it's cool seeing the international versions. I had some people saying like, oh, can you do a German dub? Can you do a Spanish dub? And I really wanted to do that, and I think some people went ahead and did it anyway, and my initial impression is because I'm trying to get better at delegating, but it's just easier if I do everything, even if I'm up for $20.
Just give me the audio, I'll do it.
Yeah, like I'll do it, just let me do it. And then, but I saw some people going ahead with it, and by that point I was so tired, that's when I finally was like, I gotta just step back. Let people do their thing.
I was actually meaning to ask you about that. Having the different dubs of the Moon Animate projects, yours was based on the North American release. Is it possible for them to do other dubs? Like, will it will it make sense, I wonder?
You know, some folks figured it out. There's, I think, a few Spanish versions floating around, and I gave it a quick watch, and I can only understand a little of it, but it seemed to sync up pretty well. So if Spanish version got the original Japanese version, because there are a few things cut out from this episode. You actually see Sailor Mars kicking Sailor Moon, and that's why she makes a comment about her butt. You see the business card and her home address, and it's in Japanese, and, you know, I'm sure there was like, no, children won't understand, get rid of it. So if that was in there, then I guess I just edited around it, but I just did a quick scan through, and I was like, oh, that worked. All right, well done. Yeah, thank you.
Speaking of like variations and stuff, have you ever considered, or has it come up to do a comparison version where you get to see kind of the back-to-back original episode and the fan version?
Oh, so like doing a render where there's Moon Animate on one side and the original episode on the other?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, you showed some sequences. That does sound cool.
Yeah, I think some people rendered their own shots like that and promoted them. It's like, here's the original, here's what I did with it. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I could render that so you could like watch the whole thing and like I think the best you can do at this point is just load up one in one browser window, load up one in the other, and then
just click at the same time.
That would work nicely. So we're in this kind of bizarre renaissance. Like Sailor Moon is back, almost more so than ever, because now we have the complete re-release of the original series coming from Viz, and we have the new Crystal coming out. So where were you when you like found this out? When it's like, because Viz kind of came out in a big way. They're like, hey guys, guess what? New Sailor Moon. That's not all. Like this is actually like the wording of their post was like, but wait for it. Not only that,
I saw
everything. It was kind of a zany time.
When did they announce that? 'Cause I think it was when I was working on the project already. But when was that again?
When was it? Because like we all knew Crystal was coming out, but we didn't know who was releasing it. And then Viz was like, guess what? Crunchyroll. Not enough? The originals. And we're like, whoa, they're just dropping more mics than they have. What is this? How's your reaction on that?
I think it's processed now, but at the time it was like I kind of made my peace with the fact that, all right, we're never getting 5th season. We're not going to get an original release again because I know, just from what I had heard, that Toei wanted to focus on their other licenses, and that's why they didn't release season 5. And then, you know, the manga wasn't reissued, and then I saw the Japanese ones the Japanese re-release come out for the manga, and scooped all those up. So I'm thinking like, all right, that could be something, but I just pretty much just made my peace. Like, all right, we're not going to get any of the other ones. We're not going to get a re-release. We're not going to get a dub. It's just, all right, this is what it is. And then Viz is like, oh, by the way, here's all this news. Drop the mic. Like, really? Oh, okay, sure.
I'll take that. Thanks, Viz.
Yeah. It's great to see them still going because I just remember the early days just being a little anime fan and a bit of a weeaboo, I'll admit. I'm better now.
I think we all improved a little bit.
Yeah, we had to get that out of our systems. I just remember being at Barnes & Noble in the comics section looking for anything, and it would be Akira, Ghost in the Shell, like Volume 3 of Gundam something, and maybe like Volume 7 of Parasite. And that's all I could find. And then you got the Borders, they had a much bigger selection, which was great, but even that took a little while. And then I just remember it really kind of took off. I think Inuyasha was where things really took off. And I loved that series to begin with, and then I kind of fell out of the loop. I was like, oh, I don't need the fan subs anymore. Toonami's doing it. All right, cool. And so it's cool to see, like, you know, who's still around, who's doing what. Because I still got a bunch of my, before they went to Tokyo Pop, I've got a bunch of my mix comics from Sailor Moon.
Oh gosh, you got mixed in?
Yes.
Or...
Yeah, which are probably
I looked at those.
And they're probably valueless now because like a bunch of the pages have fallen out. I got bored at some point and started coloring them in with colored pencil, and they don't look too bad. But it's just really, I'm glad to see that Viz is still going because I really loved their translations of Ranma for the comic. And this is one where like I almost prefer like the English version because my Japanese isn't good enough to get all of the jokes in the original. But the English is still really funny, really enjoyable, and you know, love the anime too.
Yeah, I mean that's what we grew up on, and I didn't really get the puns, so I guess when they tried to translate them, they do the best they could. But there was a lot of pun humor that was just not quite. But no, it's funny you say that because I've got like this just right here beside me.
Hey.
It was just there.
Yeah, the first manga I ever got was from my granddad. He got me a copy of Rumiko Theater, and
Oh,
I was kind of pissy. I was just like, this isn't what I wanted. Then I started reading, and I'm like, oh, this is really funny. Never mind. And then
Well, like today, I will like sing praises of Rumiko because we've read all of her stuff, and it blows my mind how many genres she goes across. Because when you read all like the Rumik worlds and the Rumik theaters, on top of the Ranma martial arts comedy, the Meizani Goku like romance, domestic storyline,
adult,
and then you have stuff like Laughing Target, which is terrifying. You have Mermaid Scar, which is freaky. I'm like, and the art style is fairly similar for all of it. But you get invested in every genre she does. She is jaw-dropping her work.
And she's hilarious too. I just she and Naoko Takeuchi, I just think, just draw incredible fight scenes. They're just really strong action poses. Like you can actually feel like when a punch is being thrown or like when somebody's flipping around. It's I won't say better than a cartoon, but it's just that's how good they are. It really reads and it comes across like so beautifully. And my favorite I think in all of Ranma is when they had to deal with the martial arts fine dining.
Oh my god! That was French school, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and he puts the plate in his mouth. He's like, ingenious!
Yeah. And there's that whole scene where he just realized, oh my god, Ron was going to die because he hasn't eaten, and then he's still in girl form. That's when like the metal corset falls off, and he's like, I can be a boy again! And he goes running in to fight him, and then he's like, oh, you still owe me this bill for like 100,000 yen. And he's like, what? Yeah. It actually reminds me of like a lot of later series, like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or I'm trying to remember others like that, or like Seinfeld, where it's I love Ranma, but there's a whole lot of no hugging, no learning. It's just like we're all just generally out for themselves. You know, you got like Nabiki. You think at some point, like, oh, maybe Nabiki will be nice. No, she just
always be true to herself.
It's like no one learns nothing. I'm rereading them all again because Viz is releasing like the larger format right to left books nowadays. And I'm still like cackling at just the humor in it. Like it holds up.
Laugh out loud. It's really
like one of my favorite moments is like Ryoga's just like, Ranma, I'm here and I'm gonna like destroy your happiness. He's like, my happiness? And he goes like, Kane is like, am I happy? She's like, I don't know. And like that's the end of the chapter. But that's the thing I love about Rumiko. She sets up like so many serious moments, but then just shatters them in the next panel. And it's like one of my favorite. Like, I can't even.
No, I love it. Talking to those old men, and he's like, "Where's Jusenkyo High?" And there's like, "It's not here. You're in Osaka. You need to go that way."
That was in the anime where he's like, you gotta go straight down this road, and the road has like a turn in it. He's like, straight it is, and he runs straight through like the turnpike, and he's just going through the woods and stuff. So good. I guess we just have a couple more things because the hour is almost up. And if you're joining us late, we got Kate Sullivan here talking about the Moon Anime Project. If you have questions, jump on the Google Chat, and you can throw them to us before we run things down. Have you been watching the new Crystal Sailor Moons?
I totally have. I think I've been super busy since I've been in New York, but I got home kind of late on Saturday, and I was like, oh my god, I missed Korra, and I missed Korra's amazing. If anybody watch,
catch up on Korra.
Oh my god.
This season is
last
so
episode, we're just like,
We're yelling downstairs.
Yeah, no, last week's episode especially, I was like saying to all my friends, like, do you watch Korra? They're like, no. I'm like, you have to start watching it because I have to talk to somebody because I didn't do that bending, and I'm really scared now.
Yep.
We mentioned it before, but we were all at Comic-Con, and they previewed, I guess, last week's episode for everyone, I think, like in advance. And we were just, like, the whole crowd was losing it. The fight scenes and everything are just fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Still can't believe it was played by the same guy who played Schillinger.
Which character is it?
Really? Which one?
Which Oz?
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
Oh, okay, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's some lag and delay on the chat, so sometimes I don't hear.
But yeah, I'm watching Sailor Moon Crystal, and I can't believe we're gonna reboot. I can't believe we got a new series. That's like, wow, really? Thank you.
Well, like, I guess I never really had the chance to read too much of the original manga. And you watching it, have you noticed is it more similar to the manga than it is the original series we had?
First series in the manga, first series right now, it's very close to the manga, and so was the beginning of season 1 of the original Sailor Moon. Sticks pretty closely to it. There's some new stuff they added, like when Sailor Moon gets a new tiara. I think some other details, and they update things as necessary. So Usagi's on a laptop, and she's kind of
we're all waiting for that floppy disk. We wanted that floppy disk.
It's a demon floppy.
I love that it's like the 21st century, and she's like, I should warn you, I don't know how to use a computer, and it's like, girl, come on.
You don't at least have a smartphone.
You know, you and Sailor Venus are going to be all over Instagram. You got to figure this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it gets diverges, like things get a little different towards the end of the first series. So I'm curious to see what they do with that. But I think right now the big thing they're going for is trying to make it look a lot like Naoko's original artwork, which they're doing really well. I wish there was more of the cartoony stuff that she would do, where everyone would get really caricatured and kind of crazy. Which they would do a lot in the original series. So, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? I think they finished the first episode like 2 weeks before the premiere, and just watching it now is like, you know what? This is really pretty. It looks really good. You can tell this is like very much like this is the work of people who are just like really trying to get it just right. And I'm curious to see how it goes from here. I kind of wish they'd go back to 2D animation for the transformations.
That threw me off for a bit.
I'm just
it looks like if you play like the Vocaloid games or whatever, like all of a sudden this 3D character shows up. I was like, what's going on here? Because like the boot, I'm like, okay, it's a boot, but then like the face, you're like, oh, 3D. I didn't expect that.
It's cool that they get the cell shading on there, so it's a little seamless, yeah. But I'm right now I'm a big fan of how they're handling the backgrounds, and a lot of the details are looking very watercolory, and so the eye catches in particular I think are like gorgeous.
Did things happen as quickly in the original manga too? Because like it's only 4 episodes and we have 3 scouts. And juniors come along and it's just plowing through the story. I'm like, what?
That's what it's like in the original. They kind of really blast through it, and I'm trying to remember. I think because like they got to introduce everybody first, and then when it gets to the next series, then they space things out a little more. And that one's definitely different from the anime.
Yeah.
So, and it's actually all the seasons are. So yeah, I'll be curious to see if we get to the 5th arc with Sailor Galaxia, because that one gets different. Instead of it being a big fight at a stadium, they travel to, I think, is it the ends of the universe or the beginning of the universe?
Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, very different. It's one of the two.
Yeah, a lot of different characters show up. A lot of people die, and it's really cool.
Either way, I find it just mostly interesting to see most of the ites kind of hanging out more, because in the original series, Jedi was kind of like the only one, and then once Malachite showed up, everyone else was like pissing on him, but like now they're all bickering. I'm like, oh, good. It's good to see their friends.
Yeah. All buddies, team spirit.
Yeah, they're all being petty, and we'll see. So I'm kind of delighted by this because I like that it's different. I know a lot of people were like really concerned at the beginning of the art style and everything changing, but I'm like, you know what? We already had our Sailor Moon. Let's see something else. Like, why not take a different swing at it?
Yeah. And I think there is kind of like that fear that it's going to be like how it was 10 years ago, where there wasn't a lot of access to the original Japanese version. It's like, here's a version we're making for you, and you'll like it, or you'll have to deal with it. Or it's kind of like what we have with Star Wars, where it's like, excuse me, we'd really like the original version uncut, please. And it's like, no, only this one that we're doing. So I think there are among fans that if there's anything new that comes out, then that's going to be the only thing we have access to, and the rest is going to be cut off. So I think it does help a lot that we do have the original series coming back out with the new dub, that we're getting all 5 seasons with the movies, and I don't know if they're doing the musicals too, because God, there's a lot of
that would be amazing.
And the live action version.
On ice. I want to see that one.
I think it's great now. I mean, initially, I know this is a really precious series to everybody, but I'm thinking, you know what? If we're getting all of it, then we can decide, which version we want to get, which one we want to support. We can only watch the new one, or decide I only want to watch the old series. If I want both, and that's great. And I really love that they're making that an option, so that they're finally recognizing that there's all these different versions we like, and there's not just like the one they're going to sell to everybody, which I think is a really good business model. It's like, let's let them have their choice, and then they'll probably going to give us their money for it, which I'm happy to do.
Speaking of live action, you just reminded me of the local mall version of Sailor Moon when it was at its height and they had people dressed up doing like a brief stage show, and there's only like 2 scouts and Luna's a voiceover, and they're all like, "What's that, Luna?" And like, "Do your homework." And it's like, "Okay, kids, let's sing along." And I'm like, "Why am I at this mall?"
That was because it was the best. That's why you were at that mall.
When she was still up in Canada?
I guess, well, none of them were any of the authentic actors or nothing, but this was just like, I know Ontario Place had one, and like every local mall just had their little, as much as you'd have like the Ninja Turtles are at the local deli doing a thing, it was like Sailor Moon was everywhere.
I remember like in the early days when I was a fan, I'd heard about some like live action version of Sailor Moon that was done with like some older woman, and it was possibly from Canada, and then So like recently I'm finding out, oh, that was Samantha Bee from The Daily Show. Like she did that for like Canadian TV at one point, and I'm sure the video's out there somewhere, but I was like, that's really cool. And if I'm wrong, I misread that somewhere. That, oops, I'm sorry. But I thought that was like, that's really cool.
Oh, no, it's not. I have never heard of that one. I have to look that up. Quickly, 2 quick comments. Matthew put this in a while ago, but saying season 3 of Korra is awesome. So if you're not watching it yet, some people, season 1 and 2's endings, people are like, but this season is jaw-droppingly good. It's some of the best TV.
I love seasons 1 and 2 because like you so rarely see like socialism or kind of any kind of change with a fantasy series, and to see people rising up and standing up for themselves as non-benders was awesome. Amon was, I think, was an amazing villain, and then how they concluded this too with Amon and the other character I won't spoil. I'm sitting there like, did that just happen on Kids at 10 a.m.? Oh my god. Yeah, it's amazing. And then season 2 I was kind of watched in and out of, and at the beginning I was like, why are they writing characters like that? That's really weird. And then by the end of this season, you find out, oh, that was on purpose. That's really smart. I really like that. And then season 3 is getting, oh my god, it's really great. I love what they're doing. So guys, if you're looking for strong female interesting characters, you gotta watch Korra.
And friggin' Ba Sing Se,
Ba Sing Se's always got crazy stuff happening.
The craziest stuff happens in Ba Sing Se. It's a freaking parallel city. It's nuts.
Yeah, it breaks my heart that like it's still terrible. Like it was terrible back in the day. It's still not great now.
So good. Also, we got Audrey saying in the manga, Jedi was dead by now.
Okay. I was expecting that to happen when we
Wait, are you saying did he?
Kiara like went around him and then I guess burned him or something?
He's like the first one or like the second monster to die. Like it's that jewelry store monster and then Jedi.
But he still got to drive the bus in the comic, right? He's always got to drive the bus.
He did drive the bus.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, she turns into a flight attendant to look after the passengers, and Luna's like, "What are you doing? You're in charge of this."
I wish she used that pen more often in the series because it's just such a fun, ridiculous thing. And it's like in the beginning, she just turns into the most ridiculous. Like even watching the episodes that didn't air, where she's like, "I just want to go into that nightclub," and then she turns into just someone who goes to hang out in jazz clubs.
What they did in season 3 when it's kind of like halfway through, they're fighting Kaori Knight and Sailor Moon is like being targeted for a heart crystal, and then all of a sudden Sailor Moon shows up and she's like, Venus, what the hell? What the hell? Why did you? And they're just like, oh, she used the Luna pen. Yes, it's totally Sailor Moon, right, you guys? I'm like, yeah, it's totally not Sailor Venus at all.
Wink.
I also appreciate how the frequency at which they keep gaining new items from the arcade machine. It's like every episode, she's kicking this machine. It's just like, oh, we got a Sailor Jupiter pendant. Who's that for? Well, anyway, it's just like all this stuff.
Just hang on
amazing artillery is coming out of this machine. I don't know.
And all of us as fans are just like, how can I buy the thing?
Well, that was it. They announced the pens recently, right?
Yeah.
The pen set?
I just saw that, and I was like,
follow a blog that has all the products, and they look so great, but I don't know exactly how to get it. And they give you instructions on how to get stuff over from Japan, but it seems really complex.
Yeah, they have those pop-up shops in the malls too there. Right?
I really just want pens. I just want the pens.
Oh I want the pens too. It would make me crazy when I go on eBay and you'd see the transformation wands, and some of them were a little easier to find than others. But could never ever find from seasons 1 and 2 like the original transformation pens that came out. And I think for the season 2 pens, they had like nail polish that came with them. And
I want that set so much.
Uranus and Neptune and Pluto had lipstick, and it's like, yes. Oh, you have to do this again. We need this, and make it so like rechargeable, so we can put like our own like magnet in there.
Yeah, I will just the clutches and things. Then there was like a powder, and it was like the Sailor Moon pink locket powder. I just want it all.
Well, for now, we can collect
the series, and in this case, it's like, nope, I don't mind. Take my money.
It's like you hooked me when I was a kid, and now that I'm a professional adult making money, you take all of it.
Yep. So now we've just been picking up Bandai
anyway,
figurines, right?
So everything I've made.
We've been collecting those Bandai figurines mostly for now. If you look at Katie's shelf, she's just got all the things somewhere.
I don't know if I can even. I mean, I can write it down. Venus is the new one.
Okay, oh yeah, we got the most recent. Jupiter's on her way.
Oh, it's Venus. Oh, I love her. She's so fun.
Jupiter will be out at the end of the month.
I gotta get her. This is the most recent one.
Get your pre-orders, kids. Sailor Jupiter coming soon. We're at the hour. One final major compliment I gotta give you on this Moon anime project. As someone who's messed around on the YouTubes, I know a thing or two about how it works. You did the madness of annotating for every single cut in the video. to credit everyone, I know how tedious that is, so I have to give you big ups for giving credit for everybody's scenes.
Thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to, because I know that was one of the big draws for me, is that, you know, this is a really good chance to kind of like show off if you want to do something crazy. Because I know some people who are like, oh, I want to animate, but I just really don't have time, or I don't have time to do a short. And this is like, you know what? Here's just like half a second to 11 seconds. Do whatever you want with it. Get crazy. And people were asking me about this shot or that shot, and rather than do a whole other render with like, here's everybody's links, which you'll have to type in manually, I really love that annotations are an option on YouTube. So it was really just exhausting just going through all of them and like getting them all done. Because it also kind of bugged me, because some of the, actually didn't bug me, it was just kind of, it was a challenge is all. You can't go, I think, shorter than half a second or a second for some of them. So if somebody's like a quick flash frame, I was trying to figure out how to load those up at the right time so people get the right info. But I have the email address for the project on there, so if anyone has any questions, they can shoot me an email. I'm still checking it. And but yeah, that was really important to me. And I'm still trying to get a Vimeo render up, but I think I'm just going to have to shell out for the Plus account, and so I can get the bigger file. It's fine. I love Vimeo. They're a great program. And I'm really glad YouTube was able to support this, because I had some big files on there. And they're like, oh, yeah, just give us your phone number. And upload 20 gigs, go ahead. It's like, thank you. So I'm really glad to get everybody's names up there, because that was so important to me, that it's not like, this is my project, but it's like, look at all these awesome, awesome people who took time out of their schedule to make this. And then my friends were like, your name's going to be on this, right? You got to talk about yourself. And I'm like, you guys are, reaching out to me about that.
Well, the Moon Anime Project, it was definitely worth the wait. It's a fantastic watch. If you guys haven't watched it yet, you go onto YouTube, look up Moon Anime Project. What other ways, where can we find you? Where can we find your stuff? What you up to these days?
Oh, God, I'm actually revamping my site right now, and I'm between gigs right now, and I'm up at Seattle, but I was just up at SIGGRAPH talking to some places. Like, hey, I ran this project, and I love production coordinating, so, you're looking for something.
Yeah, that would be perfect for you.
No, I really love it. So, I don't do as much art as I used to. I'm, sort of getting back into it, but revamping both of my sites. So one's going to be more production-focused, and the other one's, here's the stuff I used to draw and sometimes still draw. So I'm working on that. In the meantime, you can follow me on Moon Animate, and then I'm sure at some point I'll get, a site up. So it's like, okay, here's where you can see all the things. So, because I am planning to do more. This is, after doing this, was like, oh, I missed this. This is not going to be the last thing I'm doing.
Well, whatever's coming up next, give us the heads up. If we could be involved in any way, I don't know.
Oh, thank you.
We got Yaiba saying, yeah, I applaud the job annotating that. I know it takes some serious work. And yes, it does. Google Annotations is dreadful, but it's great that it exists. It is just really difficult to work with sometimes, especially when you include links and time codes and oh gosh,
it's a challenge. Honestly, I think what would have annoyed me more is if I didn't do it and I just kind of let things go, and if I didn't care about it. But for me, that was really important to be like, I want everybody to have their work be seen. And any of my animators are watching this. If you want me to update any of the links, so link to a different reel or link to a different blog, shoot me an email. I will take care of it as soon as I get home, because I know some people already have, and it's very just like, yeah, no, do it. I'm happy to do it. So that's why I'm here.
You are the best production manager.
I genuinely, this is fun for me. I'm the weird kid, but I'm just like, oh, I really enjoy it.
The video, once again, is Moon Animate Makeup. Watch it, gather some people. It's even funner with a crowd. Get some people together. Were you going to be doing any live screenings of it in locations, or is this more of an at-home experience?
I'm definitely trying to get some live screenings. I know one of my animators had one down in Dallas. I was hoping to get one while I was in New York, but I think I'm going to try for another time. And possibly one coming up in LA. And actually, just remembered, oh God, I'm tired. There will be Seattle. So if anyone's going to be in town for PAX, it's going to be going on Friday. Oh my gosh, let me see if I can pull this up super quick. That's going to be going on Friday, wherever the Friday PAX is. I feel like I'm just going to be taking too long to find it. So
sometime it's
PAX Friday.
I'll be sure to post it on the Tumblr page and the Facebook page. That's where I do most of my updates. It's usually I'm on Twitter at The Bouncing Bird. which, you know, essentially that's my personality right there. Yeah, I'm on there just ranting about what's going on in politics or talking about animation, and so this is the easiest way to get in touch with me there. And yeah, Moon Animate is on Tumblr, Moon Animate is on Facebook, and I try to keep those pretty regularly updated. And Caleb Wood did an interview with me for Cartoon Brew, which is really cool. It's just like,
wow.
So that went up today. Thank you so much, Caleb, and just thank you everybody who's been covering this. It's still this I'm still trying to figure out how I got so lucky with this. working, and it's to just see the positive reaction. It's just completely. I still can't believe it, but I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful, and I'm really happy everybody enjoyed this. It just really was so important to me. It was like, I want you guys to see not only how cool Sailor Moon is, but just how many different ways we can play with animation and just kind of get crazy with it. And just because it's such a great art form, I love it so much.
Awesome.
It really shows.
Well, we're looking forward to whatever comes next. Tell us first. We want the exclusive here. Shanahanigan's Live. Thank you for joining us, Kate.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. This has been fun.
Yeah. Cool. And any updates on our end? If you want to follow us, if you want to follow Kate, Bouncing Bird on the Twitters and the is it Tumblr's Twitters? Just Twitters. I try to like broadcast everything
on
at
Tumblr,
once.
but I barely update on that one. So Moon Animate is the best way to follow stuff on Tumblr. And then
Moon Animate on the Tumblr, Bouncing Bird on the Twitters. Katie is Katie Shy on both the Twitters, Tumblrs. Myself, Shaggy Shan, Twitters and Tumblrs. Shanahanigan's Live is the Facebook page too. So if you want to subscribe or like or favorite or whatever you do these days to that. You may have a chance of being notified when next stuff happens, because I know Facebook doesn't tell everybody everything. Yeah. Oh well. Otherwise, we usually broadcast Shanahanigan's Live every Tuesday around 8 o'clock p.m. ET, I guess we're calling it now, Eastern Time. We had this whole discussion before the show about
and Standard and
it was Eastern Daylight and Eastern Standard, and it got really confusing. So you guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Kate, for joining us, and we'll see you guys all hopefully next week.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
And Chris also says thanks, Kate. Oh. Thank you, Chris, for watching. Cheers.
Excellent.
Bye.
Ciao.